Les Schwab. What are you talking about? All right, all right, all right. I just tried to do a copy and paste while that was counting down, and there's my paster. There's the link if you want to join us. If you want to.
I'm gonna turn my green screen off just because I'm gonna lay back and be relaxing today, and
That's
I don't feel like
right.
y'all can see
That
my
way,
messy living room. I don't or my messy den. I don't care.
is that your Barbie kitchen right there?
Hey,
Is that
that
what
is
I'm
not the
looking at?
Barbie kitchen. Dang it! That's a um, Dean and Amanda or something like that. That thing was like $180. Like that's like real wood and yeah.
Dean and Amanda. Oh man. All right. What's up, y'all? What's up, interwebs? What's up, Rebel Nation? This is Andy McCabe. We got Joe Spears over there, and this is the Restoration Rebel Roundtable for the 13th of March, 2024. Before we get too far down the road, we're going to do what we do. We're going to read the agreements. Here we go. Agreement number one. Oh, I'm going to let Mr. Maui in the door here. Agreement number one. I will protect the value of my services, offering free services only serves to erode the value of similar services industry-wide. Agreement number two, I will practice incredible transparency. I will not hide pricing details or falsify reports. I will never communicate with an adjuster without also communicating with my client. Agreement number three, I do not believe in competition. Restoration companies, my market, are part of my community. I will be an active member of my community. It is our unbreakable unity that will create the change that we strive for. And agreement number four, I'm willing to walk away from any project, client, or contract that is not compatible with my values and stated mission. No relationship is worth losing money, sleep, or my humanity. Yes, sir. What's up, Mr. Robert? How things, man? You got this. It's like it's too hot. You got to lose the hair. Is
Yes.
that what's going on?
Yes. Too hot. Gotta lose the hair.
Oh man, me. I went the opposite direction. I'm like,
Too cold. You need some
yeah,
winter.
I got it warm on my neck. Yeah, I mean it was
I'm
like
stuck in
I
the
think
middle here.
we had a high of like 20 today here in town. So
It was like
It'd be
70 here. I'm stuck in the
freezing.
middle here. Like I got to get a beard back to hide this third and fourth chin of mine. But at the same time, like I get too hot. Like I like the scruff more than anything. I just got to lose some weight, I guess, because sitting around this desk all the time is making me fat.
oh man, lots of stuff going on. Lots of stuff happening. We just got done. They got done. Mr. Dooley, Mr. Kevin Dooley just got done with a big flood event up in Canada. Canada, I think it's Toronto. You guys, Joe and Rob, you guys see any of that come through on the socials?
Not really.
No,
Oh.
I didn't. I saw a couple, like one video of this people showing that they're there, but I didn't sign up or do any of the live streams.
Mm. Well, I spoke with Clark Brown today. He was up there, and it sounds like it was a great event. It was good. Um, it was a marketing event, obviously, first and foremost. When everyone that shows up gets a free, complete docu-sketch kit, there's a no shortage of marketing happening at an event like that. But also, you had Mr. Chuck DeWalt showing up doing the E3 thing. Chris Laney was there. So it sounded like it was a really great, is well attended, and a lot of good information. If you're able to kind of tune out the marketing noise portion of it, the something came up, and I want to touch on it once I go through what I have my notes on today, and it was the concept of how much more work are we to do for the carriers? How much, like it's all accepted that, man, we got to document the hell out of things. We got to take the pictures of that. We got to moisture map this, and we got to use all this software in order to make sure that the carrier, at the end of the day, the carrier is benefiting from the collection, our sweat, blood, and tears, a collection of all this data. and delivering it to them. So, the question that Clark posed, I think he posed it to the group actually as part of a panel, and he expressed it to me today, is how much more work are we to do? How much more of the carrier's job, the adjuster job, are we to do as an industry? And is that really the way? Is it really the way? The opposite side of that argument is folks that have been in this group, that don't necessarily, I don't necessarily agree with them at all, but the whole concept of a muddy scope. There's people out there preaching that don't document at all, don't document anything. And as a matter of fact, when you put together your bill, make it as confusing as possible for the adjuster. Have you heard this concept, the muddy scope, Rob, Joe? Have you heard that coming around? That is just, I don't know how that's not insurance fraud at the end of the day. You're intentionally not being clear with your actions. You're intentionally muddying the scope. What's that do to the validity of your contract? I'd like to know. But anyway, I'm a little off topic. I invite the hate mail from that person I'm talking about right now. I'm laser eyes. Come at me, bro, because that's some bullshit. All right, so I got this book given to me. Oh, I can't. That's awesome.
That's how you protect yourself from free advertisement.
That's right. This is the book on restoration collections from Ed Cross, and I've been through the book before, but I just got another copy from my good friend over in Roseburg, and I went through it again, and the whole deal, what I gathered from it, and I took some notes today, is the concept of how do you get paid faster? That's the number one pain point that I hear every single day. AR is out, 90 days, 120 days or more. We've got a client over at QuickCheck right now that has over $750,000 out there in accounts receivable. And for a small business doing $2 million, that or less, if you're doing $1 million and you have $750,000 in accounts receivable, bankrupt. That's banco, right? So I mean, how do we get paid faster? We got carriers coming in. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. Every time they come back, it's 50 cents on the dollar of what we sent over. Whether it's a mitigation invoice or a repair estimate, they're coming in 50 cents on the dollar, and they're just writing these checks really quick to the homeowners, and we're stuck. Like, how do we bridge that gap? So at the end of the day, and this book goes into it. Oh, almost read it. You could almost read it. And then my experience, and there's another book here. Nope, you can't read that one either. This one's from John Isaacson. It's Be Intentional Estimating. Great book. What it comes down to, getting paid more, getting paid faster, comes down to alignment. And I've written down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different concepts of alignment. And I'm just going to go through them. They are contract alignment, project alignment, standards alignment, documentation to billing alignment. That's the muddy scope concept. Insured/carrier alignment, and communications alignment. Oh, and there's one more document that I received today from Ed Cross, not Ed Cross, but what's the Operation Restoration Crosscheck? Is that what it is? I think it's Restoration Crosscheck. I had Mark on the horn earlier this morning. So they have their collections blueprint, or revenue blueprint, or something like that. What all these things have in common is you need alignment in your company from day one contract all the way through to the end. So I'm going to run through what does contract alignment mean to me. Contract alignment means, does your contract align with your intentions? Does it align? Is it enforceable? So are you putting a contract in front of people that lines out clearly what your intentions are, what you intend to do as a contractor, and what the penalties are for not adhering to this contract, this agreement, right? And is that contract enforceable? Ed Cross goes deep into that with his contract package and everything else, and assignment of benefits is, and the whole concept of Ed Cross's push, and I agree with it 100%, is you have to have a valid, enforceable contract. Otherwise, you're not a contractor. Otherwise, the carriers are going to push you. Every single time they're going to push you off the ball because your contract is shit. So contract alignment, number one. Key number two to reducing collections times and having more revenue is project alignment. Does your client goals, does the client goals, like what is their goal? They need their house dried out. They need their house put back together. Do their goals align with your needs? Do you able to do that work that they need for the right price, right? If you can do the work, but you don't make enough money, you're not in alignment. If you are forcing or trying to shoehorn a client into a specific scope or a specific price, that's not necessarily alignment with their goals. So your needs and your client's needs need to be in alignment. Okay, standards alignment. Is the work being done to the standard? So I had a client on the horn today, or this week, it was a Monday. And if you hear this, brother, this is nothing but love. All right, I'm not going to name you, but he got some severe pushback from a carrier. I think it was State Farm, and I was doing my due diligence, going back through and looking what he had us write. Right, he sent over a scope. He documented his loss really well. He sent it over to us. We wrote it up. I reviewed that mitigation invoice for $222,000, and I came up with valid charges of 140, maybe 150. And in what, without going into too much detail, it was a bunch of equipment over like a 30-day use of equipment over 30 days in multiple rooms. That was the biggest chunk of this big dollar amount. That is what his intentions were with that equipment, was a misuse, and it was a misapplication of all right, I'm going to say it. He was arguing that multiple air scrubbers in multiple rooms over a 30-day period were part of a stabilization process. And I asked him point blank, what were you stabilizing with air scrubbers? Right? You weren't taking moisture out of the air. You weren't really controlling the environment. You were just changing the air in that building 150 times an hour for 30 days. What was the benefit? And at the end of the day, I was arguing there was no benefit to the consumer. Right? Yeah. You didn't provide a benefit for $55,000 worth of air scrubbers and filters. So that comes back to the standard. The work that you did was not according to the standard. I couldn't find
the
S5.
air scrubbers did you have?
Well, there was about 10.
How big of a property?
2,500 square foot. 2,000 square foot.
That's it?
I'm telling you, I'm not here to bag on the guy.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah, it just wasn't done to the standard. So is the work you're doing in alignment with the published standard? And what standard do we have? We have the S500, the S520, and maybe you can point to some other standards. Okay, so and that's going to get in the way. We're talking about how do you get paid, right? How do you get paid quicker? How do you get paid more? Him not aligning himself and the work that he did and his billing with the standard is going to get in the way of him getting paid.
Yep.
And not only is he's risking not getting what I think he's due, $140,000, he's risking not even getting paid that at this point because of this first thing he threw over the fence. And it was a hot steaming turd. And no wonder the adjuster is mad. Oftentimes I don't here's another thing that came to my mind. I probably agree with adjusters 50% of the time. And that's a testament of our collective inability to do really good documentation and good work as an industry. Okay, so standards alignment, documentation to billing alignment. And I have here, if you can't prove it, you can't charge for it. Yep. This goes to Clark's point of, well, why can't I charge for it? You know, this we are held to such a higher standard than any other industry in the world, I would say, in order to get paid. You know, the standard of documentation and paperwork for doing insurance work is probably second only to government work. It's stupid, but it is what it is. We operate in this industry. We operate in this ecosystem, and that's just one of the rules that, you know, until the world tips on its head, this is the reality. And the reality is, if you can't document it, you're going to have a hard time getting paid for it. So it shouldn't be in your bill. So if you want to bill for it, make sure you can document it. Make sure you can stand behind the fact that this was actually done. This piece of equipment was actually there. And this piece of equipment was actually needed, right? It's justified and it's documented. Fifth, insured carrier alignment. You know, this is a little bit outside of our wheelhouse, right? As contractors, we're not PAs and we're not the insured. Well, unless we have an assignment of benefits in place, we got to be very careful. But I have here helping the client abide by the policy. We are the resident experts in, you know, in the absence of an attorney or PA, we are the resident experts. So we need to help the insured as much as we can abide by the policy as we understand it and help them through that process in order for the insured and the carrier to have alignment as far as the claim, right? How many times have we submitted or we've gotten involved after the claim's already been submitted? And Joe's favorite example is the insured said it was a sewer backup, right? And the insurance company says, all right, denied. Mm-hmm. And like, no, we got to walk it back. It wasn't a sewer backup. It was, it was a soft clog, right? There's always a soft clog or something. And then, so us coaching the insured on, this is what you need to say. We're not saying lie. This is how you submit a claim, or what you say when you're submitting a claim helps them have alignment with their insurance company and get that claim covered. So, okay, last one is communication alignment. All materially interested parties are kept in the loop. And that, I think communication alignment needs to be throughout the entire process, starting on day one. And what that looks like for me.
Alignment is probably the most ignored of them all.
And probably the most important, right? How many of us, don't raise your hands out there, on day one of a loss, as soon as we get the adjuster's information, we're calling the adjuster or emailing the adjuster saying, hey, just want to say hi. Looks like, we're going to be here for 5 days and our burn rate's $1,500 a day. How many of us are doing that? 1%? 0.5%? Right. I know you are, Joe, because that's what you do.
Love you.
But just and then those communications with the adjuster, how many of us are also CCing the insured? How many of us are communicating with the insured and the adjuster at the same time, multiple times throughout this claim? As opposed to what the industry standard is, we blindside these adjusters. When the job is done, we just plop a big flaming turd on their desk as in the form of an invoice, and they had no advance notice, right? It's a surprise. They shouldn't be surprised. They've been in this industry long enough to know that these things cost what they cost, but it is a surprise. So we need to be in a position to tell them and our client, what are you in for? And when that reality changes, when our estimate changes, we need to let everybody know again, hey, something came up. This came up. This is going to be more expensive. Or sometimes you can look like a hero and say, hey, I know we said we'd be here for 5 days, but Looks like we're going to be out of here in 3. And then guess what? When you get prior notice of things like that, and then you send that invoice is going to get paid way quicker than that surprise flaming pile of turds. So
I think my favorite example is like hardwood floors and mat systems. Hey, Mr. Adjuster, I'm out here. I'm letting you know I'm going to put a mat system on here. We're going to try our best to dry it out because this is only Cat 2 and we should be able to drive through it. After about 72 hours, I'll let you know the results of it are. And if you've, and then, 72 hours later, hey, the mat system's really not responding. It's done some response, but not a lot. You want me to go ahead, are you cool with me going ahead and matting it for another couple of days, or should I go ahead and demo this out? Because at that point, it justifiably could be demoed out anyways, but at least you're kind of presenting it for them to make the choice. So then when you bill them for the 3 days of mat system and the demo both, they can't be like, well, you just jumped the gun and ruined their floors or so. Like, you kind of have to play that game.
Well, it's not even, it's partially a game, but it's providing context, right? When we throw the big pile on them at the very end, after it's done, there's no going back and changing what was done. They have no context. All they have is what they thought it was, right? And their IA came out and wrote a 25 cents on the dollar estimate. So the desk adjuster was like, oh, this is a $5,000 loss. And we drop a $30,000 bill on them. There's no context. But what Joe, you're talking about is providing that context as you go. So it's like, oh, of course it's $30,000, right? That's what we want the desk adjuster to say. Of course it is, because he told me it was. And then the invisible book. I'm gonna do this 100 times today. Look at that. Where Ed Cross takes it a step further is, after it's all said and done, after the bill goes out, there is ongoing communications on a set cadence. There's a 15-day letter that goes out. Hey, by the way, we billed you 15 days ago. We haven't heard anything. On day 30, we're going to get late fees, by the way. And then the 30-day communication goes out. Hey, we gave you fair warning. Here's a revised invoice with the late fees on it. You're now 30 days past due. And then a 45-day and a 60-day. And it's like, it's all leading to, on the very beginning, you say, if we get to day 65, I have to file a lien if I'm not paid in full. But you tell them that on day 1. Mm-hmm. So when that lien gets filed, again, it's not a surprise. It's just, this is our SOP. This is how we operate. If you don't want to lien on your place, if you don't want to lien on your insured's property, you better get us paid in full. And if you have any problems with what we did or how we billed for it, let's have that conversation. So anyway, that's about 3 books distilled down into, that's how we should get paid. And that we have to, the unfortunate reality is, despite what Clark Brown said today, we have to do all that work in order to get paid these days. We have to. Well,
and I mean, some of these adjusters, certain insurance carriers I know of, are such hard asses, I'll say it, that like, guys, like, I mean, I've had a job where we pre-photo, carpet's on the floor, it's covered in water. Post-photo, carpet's gone. And the adjuster had the audacity to say, well, I don't have any photos. Did you guys taking the carpet out? How do I know you guys took it out?
Wait, it was there in one picture and gone in the next, but you didn't, because you didn't have the picture of someone holding the carpet in their hand.
It's like, how do I know the homeowner didn't pull it out like while for you guys? And I'm like, well, you could call the homeowner and ask. Like, that would be an easy way to figure it out. But I mean, it is like, guys, like if you're HEPA vacuuming your studs, 1 photo. If you're PPEing, 1, it's not like you have to take a photo of every room, every wall.
Just 1 photo.
Just the 1 photo to help validate it.
The technology makes it so easy these days. All right, talk amongst yourselves. I got to do something real quick.
I mean, it is. It's not. You just because your technicians might take bad photos. We always take bad photos. Even I still do to this day. But like, it's not hard to just snap a quick photo. Even if it's not a photo you're going to send to the insurance company within your photo packet, you have it in your little drive or whatever. So when they try to fight you, say, well, it says here that you guys cleaned the stud works and all, but I don't see any documentation. Oh, well, here you go. There you go. Done. And it's not like with that hardwood floor thing. It's not exactly like you're asking permission to mat it or tear the floor up. You're
No,
letting them know, hey, I'm going to
no,
try my best to do non-destructive. Now we're at a point where I could go either way. Do you have a preference? You want me to give it 2 more days and then we'll go
yeah,
non-destructive, or should we just go ahead and do it? Because this hardwood floor runs throughout the whole house, and you're going to have to replace the whole thing. You're playing, as I say, playing the game. As Andrew says, you're communicating correctly, but you're giving them that ability to say, "Hey, I tried my best." I mean, it's almost a great example is also like how many people raise your hands, you know, fully believe that you cannot blend texture on a ceiling and make it as a pre-loss.
I'll never do it.
Never do
I
it.
won't. I'll never do it again.
Yeah. Now I will tell you right now, though, every one of my estimates that I write for drywall on the ceiling to be replaced, I'll do my texture of that area, affected area, plus like a little bit extra for blending. And I won't fight it. I'll bill it like that, and then I'll texture it because that's what the insurance company wants. And then before I paint it, I'll say, Mr. Homeowner, obviously we had professionals came out. They worked their butt off. They did a good job. You see this here? Are you going to be happy with this? No, like I can definitely tell where the patch job is. Okay, well, let's get a hold of the adjuster. And now I got paid for that initial work, and I'm getting
Mhm,
paid again to scrape the whole ceiling down and
mhm.
retexture for
Yep.
perfect. I don't mind doing that. A lot of people act like it's the biggest pain in the butt that I have to send the crew out there twice. You're getting paid for it twice.
Yeah,
It's not like you should be losing money on it.
that is a little bit of a gamey, but it works. And I wanna piggyback and reiterate what you just said is we are not asking permission. Don't confuse communication with asking permission.
Mhm.
We're telling, we are forecasting, but we're not saying, "Hey, this is what I think I could do. Should I?" No, 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 no. We're not taking our cue from anyone but our experience and our client. So we will communicate it out, we will document it, we will quantify it, but we're not going to ask permission for it. Period. End of story.
Yep.
I'd say a lot of that. I mean, I've always used that discussion there with like roofers, like, oh, they just want us to do a patch job. Okay, we'll do a patch job. And when it leaks and they have to, and the claim is still valid because it's been less than a year, and now they approve the whole roof, you're going to get that homeowner's going to call you back and say, hey, like it did leak. They're going to call you because they think it's a warranty. You call the insurance
Mhm.
and say, hey,
Mhm.
I patched it because that's kind of how you guys want to handle things. And I told you it needed a new roof. Now I got to do a new roof also. And I made an extra $500 for a single day patch job. Like it's not
Yep.
like you're asking, should I patch it or should I replace it? You're saying it needs replaced, but
Yeah.
I'll do what you want,
Mhm.
telling you that it's not going to work.
Mhm.
I'll leave this mat down here for a few more days if you want me to, but I'm going to tell
Fair
you if it
warning.
doesn't respond, I'm going to tear this floor out.
It's
But
fair
at least I
warning.
tried.
Yep.
Yep.
It's all about how you present it and how you structure your sentences,
Mm.
whether or not you're asking permission or you're telling them this is what I'm going to do, but I'll try it your way to appease you and make my life a little bit easier when it still goes my way, no matter what.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about communication, it's proactive. It's I am a big believer in that the best defense is a great offense. So we're not asking permission, we're telling over and over and over again. We're telling, we're reminding, we're telling, we're reminding. We're sending, we want more communication. I would say by an order of magnitude, more communication coming from us and the insured to the carrier than the other way around. Because the last thing I want to be accused of is not communicating enough. Or, well, we had no way to knowing. Yes, you did, because I told you here, I told you here, I told you here. Yeah. Mr. Rob, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Let's talk marketing. Do you do agent marketing?
Yeah. I do a little bit of agent marketing. Over here, it's a smaller island. There are still some local agents. That
Yeah.
are
How many
quite-
agents do you think are on the island? On Maui?
agent on Maui? There's probably, I don't know, 100 or so. But I kind of market more towards like local insurance companies. Like over here, you have Atlas Insurance, you have Island Insurance.
Okay.
First
And they're
Insurance
they're statewide.
Yeah, statewide.
Okay. I had another client on the phone today from Kauai, and he's newer, and he's just trying to. He said, "Well, should I go talk to agents?" I was like, "Yeah, you should." And the beautiful thing about Kauai is there's only 8 freaking agents on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Should I put together a brochure?" And it's like, "What are you talking about? There's 8 agents. Write 8 letters and personalize each one of them."
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you are, and you are, Rob, too. You're in a unique position that you can legitimately say, "I am your local resource for all things property damage. Anything happens to any of your insured property, I want to know, and I will help you with it." And then the reverse of that is every claim that you get is a potential to market to the agents if they're a local company and you know who their agent is. The best phone call you can have, best conversation you have with an agent is one where one of their insureds experienced a loss and you're on it taking care of it.
Yep.
You do that once for that agent, they're never going to call anyone else.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, especially situations where you know them already, and there's like, this one, is a small little water event, it's not that big, and that gives them some peace of mind too of another huge claim being dinged on them.
Yeah, if you can show your willingness to prevent a claim from being filed, be like, "Oh, there's only like $1,500 worth of damage. We're going to take care of it. I don't think you should file a claim." Oh my God, they're going to fall all over themselves. They're going to love you.
I think in marketing to agents, this is what I'll say. I think there is some good in them, but I think it's very, very environmentally based, regionally based. Like if you're out in the country, if you're out, in the wild, so to speak, of like Hawaii and stuff, yeah, it's probably a good idea to contact them. If you're in Atlanta, if you're in LA, if you're in Chicago and stuff like in the bigger urban area stuff, it's probably not a great source because
it's
many people,
mid to small markets is best.
Yeah, because it is. Most people by default are not calling. Most people don't even know who their agent is anymore because they buy it online. But usually the agents don't even know about the job until after a claim gets filed and they get an email notification. So only those smaller markets that have the close knit agents that actually, maybe actually do a site visit and, do an audit on the property and evaluate it correctly are going to be the ones that you want to market to.
You mean underwrite it properly? No.
But the amount of people I've met in my life that I'm like, did your adjuster come out here when they sold you this insurance and make sure you had enough coverage? No, I bought it online.
Yeah. No, they just went off their database. This is how much coverage you need.
Yeah.
And that's really stuck a lot of people over the last 4 years, especially the last 2 years, is property values have just skyrocketed, but insurance coverages have not. If anything, they've stagnated. And, I've seen some it's happening more and more where I get involved in a claim and we are double the policy limit. The estimate is double the policy limit. And the uninformed, inexperienced restoration contractor is going to get deep into the claim before they realize that. And then it's like,
yeah.
And the worst thing you can do is spend all their money on the MIT and leave them with no money to do repairs. And I've seen it happen more than once.
Over here, there a lot of the associations are increasing their deductible like $50,000, and some of the condo policies they won't cover that high. So like some of the caps are like 25,000. As
far as their assessments,
because of the percent of how much, like if your dwelling's only worth this, it's only up to 25%, and some of them won't allow you to get more. And then you have this like huge gap in coverage, and they're like, well, what do I do? It's like, well, you're part of the association. You probably shouldn't have voted for that.
Yeah. I hate homeowners associations, but Yeah.
Yeah, but
You guys have a lot there. You're probably a higher concentration in that part of the country than anywhere else.
Yeah, for condos, for sure. I mean, short-term rentals is a huge business here.
Yeah.
and it is. It's one of those things, guys, where I mean, like, especially like, you know how many of my family members, like my mom and dad, they're in the 70s and 80s. They
Mhm.
grew up through the 50s. Like, they don't get rid of shit because they have this mentality of, I used to be poor when I was a kid. And like, my mom has like $200,000 worth of contents covered on her home. If she had a total loss, that would cover about half the property being replaced, and then the rest of the money would be ate up by her
Yep.
disposal fees because of how much shit she has in her home. And
Yep.
I've tried to tell her numerous times, you need to get an agent on site. And she's like, I just want to go through AARP or whatever it is. And like a lot of homeowners, that little lizard that saves you 15 minutes has hurt this
Uh-huh.
industry more than anybody
Uh-huh.
else, because now everybody thinks,
Really has.
oh, I can save some money. Yeah, but you don't know why you're saving the money. You just know you're saving money.
No, there's no discussion of value. There's no the insurance policy is only as good as what they'll pay for, not what it costs. At the end of the day, insurance is still one of the cheapest things you can ever get. It's either the worst way to spend your money, right? Because you never have a claim for 20 years, but you're paying every single month for 20 years. That's the worst one. Or it's the cheapest money you can buy, because you get a policy and you have a major claim the next year.
Mhm.
And the ROI, I mean, you've paid $1,000 in premiums, but you have a $300,000 loss. That's some pretty good ROI.
Yeah.
And renters insurance, I still don't understand how people don't buy renters insurance.
It's the
It's
best
like
thing to do.
$20 a month.
Oh, it's so cheap.
Well, some of it's cheaper. Like, I think it was like $100 for a year, and they'll move you out, and
You got ALE coverage.
It's
Yeah.
super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a Liberty Mutual auto policy a number of years ago. Was it Liberty? Yeah, I think it was Liberty Mutual. And at the time, if you had their comprehensive coverage, it was a guaranteed new car coverage. Like whatever car you were driving, and if you totaled that car, you got that next model year in that car. They just go buy it for you. And I was this close to having a brand new Jeep Rubicon. But damn it, those things aren't tough. It wasn't totaled.
and I mean,
Yeah,
it is.
it's cheap. It's free money. And if you're too cheap to afford your insurance policy, maybe you're too cheap to own stuff. Yeah. Sorry, Joe, I interrupted twice.
No, you're fine. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is, like, these people, like homeowners nowadays, they don't understand what they're buying, to the point of like State Farm. What's their big gimmick now is that your deductible is usually what, like 3% of your home value, or something like that.
Outrageous.
Like, yeah, like, I'm sorry, like $1,000 is about all maybe 1,500 on a deductible. I'm good. Like that. After that, I don't care how much money I'm saving. I'm not raising that deductible because I'll never have a valid reason to. First off, I'll never have a valid reason to file a claim. But two, I'll never be able to cover the deductible as it is.
Well, I'm not sure the home price of the area, but some of the homes in Hawaii now, they're all above $1 million. That'll be like $30,000 out of pocket before you got it covered.
And I've seen homes like that where they have.
You just hope you don't have a major loss. That's all. Well, both, because a total loss you can't afford to rebuild, but a small loss you can't afford to file a claim. Mm-hmm. So that's a worthless policy.
You have to hope that enough of your contents got damaged that it covers your deductible.
Yeah, so
but I mean,
I've done that more than once.
Yeah, I know. But I got a question. I got something that's been coming up that I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on. Okay. So predominantly in the industry, we use Xactimate. That's what the insurance companies use. And also we're all familiar with how Xactimate works. I've seen in recent time a big push to charge equipment, not on a per 24-hour basis and all, but actually on a per calendar day charge. And the idea is that it doesn't matter if you rent it at 9 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night, if you went to like a rental store, you're paying for that first day no matter what.
Yes, you are.
So the mentality is that they shouldn't be charging per 24 hours of runtime. It should be per calendar date. And which effectively means that you're almost always getting one extra day of rental on your equipment, because if it's a 4-day dry, it was there for 5 days.
Well, I agree. That's actually how I do it.
Yeah. So in my contract, I bill based on the day the equipment arrives, and that counts as a day, right?
Yep.
That's just pretty much how the contract's written. But yeah, I bill it once it's there in room. But of course, sometimes I'll do an extra day of dry. I won't charge the insurer, just to make sure some little spot need to be dried up or anything else. But yeah, I do it per when the equipment arrives.
And see, I don't mind that, because I'm not a big fan of the 24-hour runtime idea, because I've had some people be like, well, I've had one adjuster be like, do you have your hour readings on there to prove that it ran for 72.8 hours? And I'm like, get the out of here with that shit. But, I mean, some of the people that are TPAs, they literally get, like, if it said at 9 a.m. and they pick it up at
an odometer.
8 a.m., yeah, it's an odometer based on their timestamp on their Mika. God help your guys put it in immediately, and they didn't wait till the end of the job after all the demo was done to record their equipment. Yeah. But I mean, it's getting, it's a little nitpicky crap like that there that, I see both sides of it. I've got some contractors. I was talking about this today with one of my contractors. What do you guys consider to be a week for our industry? 5 business days? Do you consider it 7 days?
5 days. Yeah. 5
so
days.
Like a power distribution box, if I have it out there for 10 days, would you charge it for 2 weeks? Would you charge it on the weekly rental for 2 weeks? Would you charge it for 10 days? Would you charge it for a week, or a week and 3 days?
I guess it depends on how I rented it. If I rented it on a week rate and I paid for 2 weeks, and I'm getting reimbursed for those 2 weeks.
Well, let's just say you own it in house.
Yeah, I mixing daily and weekly on the same invoice. I don't think that's right.
I'm not a fan. I always do 5 days. If it's 10 days, that's 2 weeks to me. But the difference in value between the weekly and the daily, it was like almost $600. Yeah. It was like $700 and some for 2 weeks, or $1,200 for 10 days. And I was like, guys, like, it didn't cost anything. It's not like you were renting it. Like, just charge the 2 weeks and be happy. Like, your money will get here quicker, and you won't have as much fighting on it. And
yeah, you need to be, that's one thing I didn't touch on, but that goes to, and I know we're part of the rebels. I know we have a tendency to take a hard line, but that hard line is going to get in the way of you getting paid in a timely fashion if you choose to take that hard line every single time. So choose your battles. I'm a big fan. Let's show some flexibility. Yeah, if you want me to, because that sword cuts both ways. You want to do weekly? Well, I'm not doing a fraction of a week. So 10 days is 2 weeks. Or you want to do daily? Fine, I'll do daily. It's 10 days. But yeah, I'm with you, Joe. If it's going to be $600 less. It's going to cost $600 off your bill, but that didn't cost you that because you owned the equipment. So show some flexibility, not just for your sake, for the insured's sake. Let's cut the friction out. Let's cut down as much friction and drama as we can out of this process.
I've recently seen a contractor that unless they set more than one DHU and 2 air movers, which is a breaker, they set a spider box. So they had 24 fans, 2 DHUs, and 2 air scrubbers, and they used 2 spider boxes for the property. And I'm like, I guess I was like, was the homeowner staying there the whole time? No, they moved out during it. I was like, then why not use the home power? Why do you need the spider box?
Well, I have heard it argued a couple different ways. Anytime you use their power system, you're tying your equipment into their power system. If anything goes wrong with their power system, who's going to be liable?
Well, I'm still tying into it with the 220 plug. It's just one circuit as opposed to 3 or 4 110s.
Yes, It's one circuit. So you're interfacing with their system one time versus 25 times, right?
Yeah,
And
that's a
then
valid argument. I like that stance.
someone trips, on a cord and yanks the plug out of the wall. Well, it's less likely to. I'd rather them yank the plug out of the GFI out of my power box than out of the homeowner's wall.
And I mean, I can see both sides of it. Like, I'm a big fan. I'd rather not use the homeowner's power because especially if they're staying there, like, you know how many times I've seen water techs plug it into the sump pump plug and then the sump pump goes out, plug it into a kitchen outlet, and then they use the microwave and it blows the circuit.
Here's a good one. They
It's only funny because it's true.
the circuit for the pump that turns on and sucks out the koi fish pond.
Oh, no.
And they could call that we owe for new toy fish.
Oh,
That ain't no joke. Like, those are expensive fish.
that's for real.
But,
yeah, it's only funny because it's true. Oh,
but so like, I'm a big fan of power distribution boxes. I think if I got to run a bunch of if I'm all on the same level and that's it, I'm fine with using the home power. Don't get me wrong. But like, if I'm running equipment upstairs and downstairs and there's not enough power upstairs, back in the day, yeah, I would drop extension cords down like ropes hanging off the banisters and stuff, or down the staircase trying to tuck it to the side. Nowadays, just give me a spider box so one cable goes up there. It's less management. I'm all for it. But I mean, I feel like some people take a simple idea like a power box and they try to run with it to the most extreme they can, because all they're seeing is dollar bills popping off. And it's like, yes, we're in the business to make money, but we're not in the business to take people's money. And you got to have that balance.
That goes to, I mean, it's a degree of honesty, really, when it comes down to it. And the tools we have, the equipment we have and use, is meant to be in alignment. Let's go back to the alignment conversation. In alignment with the goals of the job, right? If I'm putting in more equipment because I want it to dry faster, that's one thing. But if I'm putting in more equipment just because I think I can and I can charge more for it, that's not honest.
I had a project the other day where it was a 3x3 water heater closet, and they tried to say they set 4 air movers, and I was like, I'll give you 1. I'm not giving you. I was like, I refuse to charge 4. Like take it away from me if you want, but I'm not going to put 4 on here. I'll give them 1. They were and then they tried to charge it for 11 days, and I was like, I'll give you 1 for 11 days, maybe because it was over holidays and stuff, but I won't give you 4. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I get mad when other people say it, but that's why we have a bad name.
I mean, that's why TPAs got invited, to stop people from doing that kind of crap. I'm
not a big fan of victim blaming, but yeah, we have some culpability.
And what was the one I was going to say? Here's another thing that bothers me a lot is like people want to when you guys write these Xactimate files, if you're writing your own and not having like a third party person like me or Andy doing it and stuff, so many of them do not even understand what's all involved with each of the line items. Like Rob, I'll ask you, where do you buy your trash bags from?
Costco. I mean, Lowe's.
What kind of bags are they?
They're 3 mil, I think.
3 mil, like what, 40-gallon trash contractor bags?
55 or a contractor bag, yeah.
Xactimate
6 mil.
Yes, per the S500, you guys should be bagging with a 6 mil plastic trash bag that's puncture resistant. It's it's not going to get a hole in it and leak all on the floor and stuff. I don't know it unless they're doing abatement work, trauma cleanup work most of the time, and some mold, like actual, like full on, just all we do is mold work. I don't know any contractor that buys 6 mil trash bags. They buy the bulk load from Lowe's for 3 mils that are
that orange box of contractor bags from Home Depot is 3 mil. I'm gonna go look at my box. I got a box in the garage for tonight. I'm gonna go look.
And I do buy 6 mil bags, but I'm guilty of everybody else. We just use the contractor black bags. If it's a mold job, I'll double wrap it. So technically you have 6 layer but no, that's everything else. We have the 6 mils exclusive.
Here's the other side of the argument. Is there a 3 mil bag in Xactimate?
No.
Yep.
What?
DMO
Prove
bag.
it.
DMO bag.
Bag minus?
It's a DMO bag. It's DMO bag, and it's 50 bags per box. Whereas the CLN bag, which is what it's applied to every water line item, is 6 mil, and it's 30 bags per box.
But what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's not a good way, especially in Xactimate, because it's not like it's. I mean, unless you know how to use Xactimate, like we do.
I'm gonna go change. I'm gonna manipulate that line item to make sure it has the accurate bag mills on it.
But but also, I mean, it's the reason.
But what you're saying is there's money in it, right?
Yeah.
That only adds to the margin because we're not spending what Xactimate thinks we're spending on bags.
Yes, and people act like, oh, I'm not getting enough. Sometimes, I have a client. I wrote an estimate the other day. I just wrote an estimate yesterday for a client. When I got done writing all the estimates, and I validated that I did the right calculations. I'm giving you 15 minutes per piece of equipment for setup, teardown, manipulation, restocking, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm giving you, I did all this stuff here. This entire estimate came out to 186 labor hours. For 2 guys. That's 11 full shifts.
Mm-hmm.
And they were out there for a day, and 2 guys out there for a day and a half demoing, and then a full day of cleaning studs and HEPA vacuuming. 3 days of work, and they're getting 11 hours. And they came back and they're like, well, I really feel like they were like, I really feel this monitoring hours are low because we send 2 people out there on every job because, we don't. And I'm like, you've got 11 days worth of hours on here. You're fine. Or
I don't think a lot of people look at the labor hours and look. I always do that now. 4 years ago I didn't, but 2 years ago I started looking at that and saying is there enough hours here to perform the job really? I had 4 guys there for 5 days. It's saying that I'm 20 hours short. And maybe I'm missing a line item.
Right.
Well, and it's like tearing out tile. If you tear out tile, WTR tile in Xactimate, tile tear out is 25 square feet as the direct yield. So 25 square feet in 1 hour. Mm-hmm. The cement backer board is 50 square feet per hour. So on a 12 by 12 room, Xactimate's saying it's going to take 8 hours or 2 guys for 4 hours to tear out a 12 by 12 room of tile floor in backer board. And I can tell you right now, I don't know any manager that would be okay with their water techs taking 8 hours tearing out 1 bedroom's tile floor and backer board, because obviously it's on a wood subfloor there. That's what are you doing? But you need to work faster. You're not working right. And I feel like so many people don't, they're like, this floor came up really hard. We need more money. I'm like, do you realize how many hours you got?
Yeah, I think Joe, I think folks like you and I who live and breathe estimating all day, every day. I think oftentimes we get shot as the messenger for these things. And we get blamed for things that have nothing to do with the estimating portion. It's all about they don't understand their business enough, or they're asking us to do things that we know aren't congruent with industry standard, but they're blaming us because they're not getting paid for these things. So I think you and I see that more often than I think the ordinary person would.
And I also think a lot of people have this mentality, and y'all can hate mail me all you want when I say this, because it won't bother me.
I love you, man.
When you take a look at some clients that I've had over the years, I'm not just saying now, but over the years, and look at the product that when I look at their photos and see the product they presented, I look at the product of their documentation. They do not, they would, if you ask me, I would say, even if I write all the line items the correct way, they don't deserve that 100% pure, no labor trade changes, no manipulation, default Xactimate. They need to be lower in value because their quality of work is not there. But I feel like every time I talk to a contractor, I've talked to so many in the past year alone that they're like, I just started up. I've only been in business for a couple months or whatever. They see, Andy and Rob's restoration out there, and they've seen that they're charging, $6,000-$7,000 on a water loss. I get the same style water loss. I deserve $6,000 to $7,000. And I'm like, they've got 10 years experience on you, buddy. That's why they're getting that. Their guys are doing things at least the right way. You did about a $4,000 job, and then you write them an estimate, and they're like, this ain't enough money. I know we're missing something. This doesn't seem like it's enough money. And I'm like,
doesn't seem like it's enough money. Well, first off, it either is or it isn't. And if you don't know your costs well enough to tell me which it is, yeah, it's probably enough. That guy has no overhead. He's probably working out of his garage or a shop on his own property. He's a one-man operation or just 2 or 3 people. Your overhead, you can't compare your costs and your overhead to someone that's doing $15 million a year and has 25 employees. You can't.
And like you said, everything's a double blade. You can't compare to them, but they shouldn't. But those bigger people also shouldn't be applied to the same rules you are, such as like only getting 10 and 10 on their overhead and profit. I mean, and that's where it is. It's like everything has just become this middle of the road. Like you got McDonald's, you've got Red Robin's, you've got Ruth Chris Steakhouse, you've got all these different burger joints. And the interest is like everybody needs to get charged $1.99 for their cheeseburger. No, I'm not. Like, but McDonald's, and look at McDonald's. How many people complain about McDonald's? Because McDonald's used to be the cheap guys, and now a cheeseburger is the same price at McDonald's as it is at like at a Wendy's or like a Culver.
I think I'm just too old, but I can't get over it. I mean, I don't eat fast food a whole lot, but
I do.
I'll go to the drive-thru once in a while, and just because I got to eat something, I'm away from here to there, and I'm like, $15 for a combo meal.
For me to get my 10-year-old son a combo, my daughter a Happy Meal, me a combo, and then I got them both 2 medium-sized chocolate shakes. It's like $40 now.
Yep. Yeah. The other day, like my son wanted a hamburger, like one cheeseburger. It was like $4.85. Like, what happened?
And it's this big. I mean,
and they're hungry like 3 hours later. Yeah, but it is. I mean, that's where our industry's at right now. Is it's all.
No, I don't think that's the industry. Well, that part of it is not the industry. That's the world we live in. I mean, I went to see Dune 2 last week. I took me, my wife, and my son.
Did you get the popcorn bucket?
No, it wasn't an AMC. It was a Regal. I asked. He was like, no, that's AMC. I'm like, oh.
If y'all don't know what it is, AMC, the popcorn bucket has a popcorn bucket topper on it that looks like one of the sandworms, and you stick your hand in the middle of the sandworm to grab your popcorn.
I wanted one so bad. But 3 of us go to the movies. Before we bought popcorn and a soda, we were $62 in.
Yep. It's ridiculous.
Damn. Yeah. So, I mean, inflation is, man, I don't know what's going to happen. Not to go too far afield, but the American dollar is at risk of real collapse. There's a reason that crypto is going gangbusters right now. Bitcoin's sitting at 74 grand each.
Yeah, but
now.
Crypto goes really, really high and then really, really low and then really, really high and then really, really low.
Yeah, believe me, I've been in for a couple of years and I'm just now getting back to my cost basis. Don't get me started.
Same here.
Crypto fluctuates too much for my comfort level, but I mean, it is.
I think it's going to be more stable, but with the collapse of the dollar, I think that's going to be one of the safe havens people go to. But what are the rest of us going to do? Like, is the average water loss going to go from 10 grand to 20 grand next year? Just because of function of dollars?
And it's not, granted, when I started off in this industry back in 2003, brand new non-skilled labor was $9 to $10 an hour. You usually max out about maybe $12, and then you became a water tech. You would do a water tech from $12 up to about $17, and then from $17 to about $20 was a lead tech, and that was pretty much your high ceiling and all. Nowadays, a lead water tech is expecting to make between like $19 and $25 an hour. It's only a $4 raise, but yet all our water losses are now. I mean, when I started off in the industry, our water losses were $3,200, $4,500 a pop. And and nowadays, I mean, my average over at RIB right now, our average, we wrote 82 water losses last week alone, and our average was over $12,000.
Mm-hmm. And that's in a normal market. You go to Maui, what do you got to pay guys to stick around? $28-$30 an hour?
Yeah, $22 to $30 an hour. Yep.
for a tech.
And they still don't want to work their butts.
And they yeah, if the waves are coming in, they're not showing up for work.
But I mean, even then, yeah, there's a $4 or $5 increase on your salary, but yet the materials didn't change. It's not like, and it's kind of like the argument about, oh, we need to charge more for our dehues. The air movers have been, $300 roughly, $250 to $350 a pop for years. Dehumidifiers on average are about $2,500. They've not really grown in price that much. So the argument about like changing my rental rates on my equipment, I've never been a big fan of. So, but why is it that, $4 or $5 more per hour for my laborers has extrapolated out into this massive, 60% buildup on the cost of the job? And it's that inflation. It's that business model of, capitalism. And a lot of these franchises, that are traded and stuff that are, have all these massive corporate overheads. These people are, a lot of the people that I see, especially that are buying into franchises right now, they want to make enough money that they still come out at the same amount of money as Rob and Andy Restoration is after they've paid all their franchise fees. I have one guy ask me, he's like, well, can we put in their estimate? Like I have to pay, my plumber has like he's getting like a $300 referral on this year. Can we somehow increase the estimate to cover that referral? And I was like, that's not how it works. You can't do that.
Well, you can.
But should you?
Well, no, let me go all the way back to alignment number 1, contract alignment. You can charge whatever your contract says you can charge. So if you have in your contract all our costs and your schedule of fees includes a referral fee to a plumber, then I think you're legally able to charge for it. Whether you should or not
is a different
question.
There's
no question. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
If you're not covering your costs, then change your pricing. But don't nickel and dime. That's stupid. I gotta pay $1,000 to a plumber to get the referral. That you don't pass that on to your client. Yeah.
And it is. I think there's a big epidemic of people out there, especially that they think, they do buy these smaller franchise, these newer franchise stuff because they think they're going to help them get work in. And then they're trying to make the same amount of money as everybody else after they've paid their dues. And it's like, no, like you pay your dues and then you make your money off of that. And it is, some of these franchises, they spit a good game. They're like, yeah, we'll help you get all set up. And as soon as you turn your lights on, they're ghosts. All they care about is you better send me my money. Send me my money. That's all that matters.
Well, it's telling. One of the my most successful e-product that I've sold thousands of dollars worth of 24-hour tech. I developed, designed the 24-hour tech when I was at ServiceMaster because they didn't have a system in place to help me train and train technicians and document losses. So yeah, you buy a franchise, you're buying a logo and the right to pay them 8 to 9% of your revenue every year until you die.
I know one franchise. Check this out, Andy. I'm not going to say who it is. I'll never say who it is out loud.
I will.
I know one franchise who their franchisees have to pay their commission based on not on what is collected, but on what is invoiced.
Oh,
ouch!
I bet they have a lot of people going out of business.
You think they really care about their employees when they're like,
no, they'll just resell that license. I know they will.
Bill $100,000. We want our cut of that. Oh, you only got paid $80,000. Too bad for you.
Too bad for you. That's the old. Does Contractor Connection still do that? There was a TPA that took their fee based on the percentage, a percentage of the invoice going through exact analysis. Someone tell me who that was. Speaking of someone, no one's commenting today. It's just like no one watching. There's 4 people watching. I see 4 people.
It's because it's been so nice out today that everybody's went out and stayed outside and all. Now they're tired and taking naps.
It was nice. Yeah.
But no, I mean, and that's the thing is, guys, like,
And it's 9 o'clock on the East Coast.
Yeah. I mean, people don't know I know we always harp about people knowing their costs, but I really feel like there's not enough people in management positions in our industry or ownership positions in our industry that have actual business education. People don't take, most, I would say a vast majority of the people that are in our industry, regardless of what stage you're in, if you were either a general contractor, maybe you were a drywaller, and then you added painting on, and then you added flooring on, and next thing you know, you had a GC, and you were like, let's get into water, and you've just naturally grown. Or they're the people like me who start off as a tech and then got promoted to a project manager and then an estimator, and then hey, you've been here 20 years and stuff, you know how to run how this business runs. Let's, why don't you become the new GM because the GM's retiring or whatever. But there's not enough quality businesses in our industry that actually have people that know how to run businesses the correct way, and people are just flying by the seats of their pants, and their mentality is, well, I made some money today, that's all that matters. I had one boss.
I got checks in my checkbook still, so
I have one. I used to work for one boss. I'm a great guy, loved the man to death. I still talk to him almost once a week. Any profit that the company made, that was his paycheck, period. End of story. Like, he didn't set money back for the company for rainy day funds. He didn't set it back for new equipment. It was, this is my money. And then when equipment broke, well, we just don't have any money right now. You got to wait.
Well, when you're living hand to mouth, yeah, sometimes that's the only thing you could do. I mean, that's you just described the last 5 years of claims delegates. Thanks very much. I'm going to go cry now. But I don't think that's a function of restoration necessarily. I think that's a function of the trades in general. You've got a lot of craftsmen. You've got what's the E-Myth that calls them tradesmen, right? What's the E-Myth?
Skilled laborers?
No, it's the guy that you're good at your craft, and you get so good at your craft, you're like, well, why am I? No, it comes out of the book, The E-Myth, and it'll come to me late at tonight at 2 a.m. I'm sure. But it's the idea that, oh well, I'm doing this, I'm working for someone, but I'm really good at my craft, so I'm going to go open my business and just do that because I can make more money or whatever else. And that's a big part of the E-Myth is, and what, to your point, Joe, it takes a certain level of business acumen and education and organization to run a business. I have run a business for a while now, but I've also stepped away from that business and gone W-2 more than once. And both times, Service Master, and then ATI, both the times when I got that first paycheck was direct deposit into my account. And I was like, oh my God. And it was a Friday night and I was home and I didn't have to do anything until Monday morning at 8 a.m. Hell yes.
I ain't got to worry about cutting some of this out for it and saving.
I'm not going to worry about insurance. I'm not going to worry about paying my car payment because it's a company car.
You don't got to worry about saving some money. That's what sucks the most. Run your own business is like seeing that bank account and being like, look at all this money, and knowing that 30% of that is held back for your tax man, your quarterly tax man. You're like, but I am broke right now. I need that, and it's so hard not to touch it. I mean,
but you got 2 weeks vacation. Health benefits. I mean, there are pluses to be an employee, but you don't get the upside. You do not share in the upside. You get what you get, and that's it. What's up, Mr. Sean? Give us an update, man. What have you been up to?
Hey, what's going on?
I haven't seen you for a while.
I'll be right back. I gotta get some water.
All right, see you, Joe.
I'm always undercover. Too noisy in the house. I just got out. So yesterday I had a roofer come to knock on my door.
And he wanted to get on your roof and tell you how you needed a new roof.
Yeah. And today another one showed up, and then they told me if it's those insurance companies, oh, we're not going on the roof because they blamed us that we're breaking the roof.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Do you guys have a storm roll through or something? You get some hail?
They say we had some. I didn't see it, but we went on the ladder and document some stuff. But
Huh?
how do you give me? I asked him, how do you deal with the deductible? Because you want free roof, how you cover the deductible? So the way they want to do it is we're gonna rent you a space on your lawn for the amount of the deductible to put a sign on.
Oh, sneaky.
And this is what's is gonna cover.
Oh. Now, you didn't know you were in billboard advertising, did you?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's funny. Yesterday, someone attacked me when I just got home, and today another company.
Wow. We will rent a square of your lawn so we can put a sign on it, and that's gonna be your deductible. Ooh. Was this a well-known company, like national, or just one of these regional fly-by-nights?
I never saw them around, but I don't know. We had a big storm last year, and I think it's about a year, almost a year, since we had the tornadoes and hail and the trying to capture.
Wow.
Andy.
There's always something. I'm listening.
I'm going to make you laugh. My old lady decided that, because it's getting nice outside, that it's time to do some spring cleaning of the garage. And she's like, I'm going to go buy some trash bags. What size should I get? And I was like, just grab and order contractor bags. This is what she bought. Brute, super tough, 55-gallon trash bags.
Okay.
And you can see here, they look pretty damn thick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can get you to be able to read this here. Can you tell me how many? Hang on, let me see here. There we go. That should work there, like that there. How many mils is that?
2 mils.
2 mil. Do you know how many times I've seen contractors roll in with a roll of trash bags like this here and all
the time? Every time?
I think people are, like I said, it goes back to the whole, like, I had one client the other day, they were complaining, they're like, I just feel like the taxes on my estimate are just way too high. This is, and I don't have
taxes.
Yeah, they're like, the taxes that is applied to this estimate is way too high. Like, there's something going on here. And I was like, well, first off, I don't dictate the taxes. Like, that's just Xactimate producing it. But, I was like, they're like, well, it just seems really high. I don't feel like I would have had to pay that much in taxes. And I'm like, well, look at the component list here. And they're like, well, I didn't use this. And I'm like, well, that's why your taxes are so high, because Xactimate assumed you were using this, and this.
Oh, well, it's an estimate anyway. Wait, was he? What was he doing? Was he taking that tax line item and just writing a check to the feds? What was he doing with the tax line item?
I think a lot of contractors, they do. They take that estimate and they say, Mr. Smith's job has $600 in taxes, so I'm going to write $600 down in my notebook and say I need to pay taxes on that.
What you owe the government, Xactimate has no sway over what you owe the government.
or even local tax.
Right, Maui, you guys got to have a pretty hefty local tax.
Well, we have a G tax, so it's a 4.712, but it's across everything.
Oh,
food, motor vehicle, everything, clothes.
With me, over the last year working the last few years working with so many different contractors around the country, I have one that I came up with, and I keep getting asked about it, and I don't have any say-so on it. And if anybody out there in virtual world would love to comment and weigh in or message me privately on it, I'd love to find out more. There's a bunch of states that have their tax rates for the materials, and then there's taxes on the food, obviously, but they also have an equipment rental tax that gets applied too. And I feel like, and most of the contractors I've worked with, they're like, I don't know what this is. Why am I charging that? Why is this on the estimate? And I'm like, because that's what Xactimate says your tax rate is, and you're renting equipment, so you have a rental equipment tax, and they fight me tooth and nail and say, well, that doesn't apply to us. That doesn't apply to us. I'm like, I don't know if it does or doesn't.
Well, if they don't pay for it, then they pocket it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Why argue it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if they do their own taxes, they'll know like when they do their taxes what they're paying for. I mean,
Oregon has like a 0.02 corporate activity tax. But I wasn't aware of it because I was just ignorant of it. All right. IRS is going to knock down my door now. But I saw it for the first time in Xactimate Estimate because I got a hold of a local contractor's Xactimate. I was like, 0.02. And that they just put it in there. It once again, Xactimate's not in charge of what you owe the government. So Xactimate we don't have a sales tax in Oregon. So it came up with a 0% sales tax, but Xactimate wasn't aware and accommodating for this 0.02 corporate activity tax, but it's valid. It's a valid fee. But again, this is an estimate, you're estimating costs here. And if you get paid for your estimate and your taxes, at the end of the day, it's less, then congratulations.
And like
I said,
I think most people, their mentality, that's how they track it is, my estimate said it was $1,000. I got $200 in taxes. I write $200 down in my taxes, and they don't know how to actually look and say, well, what were my actual costs on this job?
Yeah, that's not Xactimate's job. It's your accountant's job. It's your CPA's job. So, all right, we're looking at let's not go an hour and a half today. Let's stop it here unless you guys got something hot and burning to talk about.
I got real quick. You get that email from Matterport where now they're saying there's like a new contract for restoration.
You want to show it to me?
Yeah, let's see here. Matterport. I thought it was something coming out March 20 something. Matterport February announcement. No. There was a new email I just got. Maybe it's my other email. They're saying there's some new features coming out for restoration contractors.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I
see.
turned off my phone today and everything else because I was just in pure marketing.
I can't find it right now, but I'll send you a link to on your Facebook.
Okay.
Take a look at it. But it looked interesting. I have no idea what they're doing. I didn't read the whole article yet, but I kind of saw it and I was like, oh, interesting.
Do you think they're reacting to DocuSketch's play?
Oh, here we go. I found it. Jumpstart property loss estimate with Matterport property insurance. I'll forward you.
I bet they're reacting to DocuSketch's play of DocuSketch's subscription service.
I sent like the claims.clinic email.
Okay. Yeah, that's my guess. People are reacting, right? We got first movers in the market. You got DocuSketch with the first ever subscription-based estimating model, based on their technology. It's far from perfect, and I could say a lot of things. I'm not going to try to badmouth them, but I do know that if you're using their service, you need to have somebody else doing quality control on that work product before you send it out. I'll tell you that right now.
I will say, Watley. What's his one that he's combined with?
Impartial.
Is that Impartial? That thing there, I'm not a big fan of it right now because I feel like it's too much money. But that's the wave of the future, is having these scans where you scan this and it's going to be able to find all the line items you need automatically and account for things.
It's pure computer vision, and once it's dialed, it's gonna. Yeah, there's a reason I think there's maybe another 10 years left in what I do, because it's going to be all AI. So, on that note, I got some folks that need me over here. So good to see you guys. Sean, thanks for showing up, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's the first time I can get outside and it's too noisy in the house.
Oh, well, come back next week. We'll give it another shot.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Take care,
See you
guys.
Be good.